need to talk about this. Every rumor, every twist on the Georgia Says podcast. We need to talk about this. So hit that play, stay in the know. Georgia Says, still the show on the Georgia Says podcast. Need to talk about.
Shout it. Giorgio says, the lights, let's go. Dancing in New York for the city's cold. From the streets to the beats, we're on fire. Nightlife legends taking it higher. Planet sushi in Miami, heat so fine. Under palm trees, sipping on some wine. But wait, the West Coast calls my name. Beverly Hills, I'm in the fame game. Georgia says we're a move from coast to coast. Let's hit the groove from New York flights to Miami nights. Beverly Hills dreams, we're taking flights. Me in Paris Hilton, living a simple life. Fashion lights, glamour and no strife. Next up, Jersey, where the party's at. Seeing the girl, cause it's a VIP chat. Dance, it's a VIP chat. Dance, wherever you are. Georgia's name, shining like a star. From sushi rolls to famous friends, the party never stops, it never ends. Georgia says, live it up, feel the beat. In every city, on every street. Raise your hands, let's toast tonight. Georgia's what, everything's alright. Whisper, Georgia says. Whisper, Georgia says. Club finish.
All right, what's up, everyone? Yes, there is a show to start. I was just playing some music to let people join in. People will join in as they will. Hello, Instagram. Hello, YouTube. Happy Thursday to everyone. Thirsty Thursday, as I like to call it. How's everyone doing today? Let's start off with that. How is everyone? Hello, everyone. Hi, Kelly. How's everyone doing today? Hello from Australia. Watwood, thank you for joining me all the way from Australia. Is it hot where you guys are? Hi, guys. Welcome on in, guys. It's Thirsty Thursday, except I don't have a cocktail because it is a little early for me to have that. But I'm glad you guys are joining me. This is the third show this week. So as I mentioned on Tuesday, I will now be going live at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So I hope that's a good time for everyone. If you can't watch it live, don't worry. The replay is available on my YouTube channel. So for everyone out there that can't make it, I get it. Everyone has stuff going on. But for those of you that are joining me, I do appreciate your time. We do have some Bravo Hot Topics to discuss. I don't know. Did you guys know? Let's start here. Did you guys know Billie Lee had a podcast? I didn't either. I really didn't. I had no idea, except I have to say, yes, Kelly, I'm so happy. North Carolina in the house. Yes, I bet it is hot down there, Kelly. It's just humid and gross here. Anyways, Billie Lee has a podcast. It's called Billie and the Kid. And there was a new episode last night, or yesterday, sorry. And she has, I guess, a co-host. I don't remember the woman's name that's her co-host, but essentially Joe, if you guys know Joe My Gosh, she was also on the podcast and they were kind of talking about a bunch of stuff, but it did come to where, I don't know if you guys remember, oh my gosh, sorry. Someone from Brooklyn, KTRS Brooklyn, said it's swampy in Brooklyn. I bet it is. When I lived in New York, the summers were Winter in Australia is so nice and cool. I still have not been to Australia. It's on my bucket list. Nonetheless, Billie Lee did have a podcast, and they discussed some of the things that were going on. If you guys remember a while back, there was this story where Billie Lee unfollowed Tom Sandoval and his, I don't know if it's still his girlfriend. I'm assuming it is. Victoria, I don't recall her last name, but nonetheless, Victoria was someone that used to date Leonardo DiCaprio. I'm saying that because it comes up in whatever Billie Lee discusses on her podcast. But it was interesting, the things that she did discuss and the things that she was saying about Victoria and all the things that are actually happening in real time with Tom. And this is according to her, by the way. So it's not, this is from her point of view. She did say, though, that on the podcast that she had stayed silent because there was some rumors that, I guess, when Tom Sandoval and Jax were on Watch What Happens Live some time back, I guess Billie Lee was also there, and so was Victoria. And I think some drama went down, but nobody really knew what the drama was. But then they just started noticing that Billie was unfollowing Sandoval and I guess Victoria and all that fun stuff. But then it was left blank. No, everyone speculated. They were like, oh, maybe Jax, let it out that, Billie may have slept with Tom Sandoval, which that has been a rumor since Scandoval started. Because if you guys remember, Billie Lee was the only person that kind of popped up out of nowhere and was seemingly Tom Sandoval's only friend, at least in that time. And she kind of doubles down on that in this podcast episode. She really says that she was a real friend to him in a time of need, and she was, worried about him and all these things. And then she says that when Victoria came into the picture, that she's the one that started kind of pressuring Tom Sandoval to start drinking again, which I know he had stopped drinking for filming the last season. I didn't necessarily think he was sober, but nonetheless, she claims that this girlfriend, Victoria, and him are in a very, very toxic relationship. So much so that Billie said that she was dragged into a lot of their fights. She'd be over at Tom's house. They would get into a fight. She would get, dragged into it. And so she kind of also alluded to the fact that Victoria might be a little messy in the sense that she may have a substance issue, meaning because Billie said that Victoria would call her slurring in the middle of the day and telling her that she needs to break up with Tom Sandoval because, she's not used to dating anyone that's not an A-lister, and she's embarrassed to bring Tom to, I guess, the Hollywood parties. And so Billie just explained that was very confusing. Like, why are you telling me this, that you want to break up with him, but then you guys are together and then it's all good and whatnot. But then she goes on to speak about a specific time where Billie Lee and Tom Sandoval had asked Billie Lee to come hang out with him and watch a movie at his house and order food. And Billie was like, oh, no, I'm already heading to my other friend's house, which is her co-host on the podcast, who I cannot remember her name, so forgive me for that. But she says that Tom was like, oh, no, I already ordered your favorite food. You should just come on over. So she's like, okay. So she says she drives over there. They're watching the movie. They're eating. They're just doing what they would normally do. And then she says that Tom Sandoval's phone is blowing up like crazy, and it's Victoria. And so he takes the call upstairs. They're clearly getting into an argument. And she says that Tom Sandoval comes downstairs and tells Billie Lee that Victoria told him that she thinks that Tom and Billie are going to sleep together that night. So Billie was turned off by that because she adamantly says that she has not had that type of situation with Tom. It's always been a friendship. It's always been platonic. Look, I'm looking at you guys too on Instagram. I don't know how much of that I believe. I really don't. Some of this I feel is a little bit when she popped back on the scene during Scandoval out of nowhere, it seemed. It felt very much opportunistic. And listen, I'm for everyone going out and grabbing opportunity by the balls and getting what you want, right? But I feel like she kind of just came like real heavy. Like all of a sudden she was his best friend. She was at his house all the time. And so she does say that she did feel like Victoria was basically not a good... this doesn't make sense to me because I feel like, first of all, let's put things in perspective. If Victoria dated Leonardo DiCaprio, okay, then what is she really doing with someone like Sandoval? Unless she is really just the most toxic human being and doesn't really care who it is, as long as it's someone that's getting some sort of notoriety. Nonetheless, Billy then talks about a different time after that where she and Tom Sandoval went to the nail salon to get their nails did. And she says that during them getting their nails done, they, you know, Victoria is calling Sandoval and, you know, again, blowing up the phone. And Tom has Victoria on speaker and is telling her, now this is coming from Billy, that, hey, Victoria, just so you're aware, Billy is also is here with me. And so she says, then Victoria said on speakerphone, of course she is. You're always hanging out with her. So from there, she felt like, you know, it was just Billy was being made to feel like uncomfortable to even go hang out with her friend, who she cares so much about. So from there, then we get to this is where it gets a little like crazy. So Billy is also saying, thank you, Spark 658. Shane is my favorite house husband. At least today he is. What was I saying? Oh, so she then starts to go into this part of the story where she says that essentially Tom Sandoval and Victoria, they literally don't do anything. They party a lot and then they sleep all day. Billy said that Tom Sandoval's house is a mess, which isn't it always a mess? Did I miss something? When did, like, the whole last season, the house looked like it was in shambles. But anyways, she said the house was a mess, that there was substances all around the house, and that Victoria even told Tom Sandoval that he needs to get rid of all of Ariana's stuff, move out of the guest room, and move back into the master bedroom where he belongs, essentially. And so then Billy says that she feels very uncomfortable with this. And so she's trying to figure out, like, do I tell Ariana? Do I talk to Logan? What do we do here? Because I think it's really not cool that they would go and mess with Ariana's stuff. So here we are with Billy trying to send the signal like, hey, Ariana, I'm a girl's girl. Don't still be mad at me. I was watering your plants and I was making sure that Victoria didn't try to move your stuff. Unblock me, please. That's what it felt like. But nonetheless, she did say that they were very toxic together. There was a lot of fighting. And that I think the last straw where Billy had to create these boundaries, as she called them, with Tom, where I guess this is the part where she unfollowed and did all that stuff, was she had said that he was going through a lot of stuff. He was turning down meetings with people. And when she explained what that meant, it was that she really spilled a lot of Tom Sandoval's tea in this episode. So I don't know how he's going to feel about this, but she said that there was a lot of moments where he was broke. And there was, like she even said, like there wasn't a lot of opportunities for him in the last year for obvious reasons, because they all went to Ariana, respectfully, as they should. Why, like, you don't reward that type of behavior with brand deals. I'm sorry, you're already on the show getting paid a nice chunk of change to be an asshole. But nonetheless, she says that he was not taking any of those brand meetings and that his excuse for everything was he was sick. He just didn't feel well. probably from partying all the time, I would assume. But she said that she tried to get a group of people together to kind of do an intervention type thing with him. And they were going to do it at Kyle Chang's store in West Hollywood. And it was, I don't remember if it was Kyle's birthday or someone else in the group's birthday, but they were treating it like it was a pregame situation that they were going to go to. So she was for sure like, Sandoval will definitely come to this because it's like, it's a pregame thing, which is odd because if you're trying to have an intervention with someone that has issues around maybe drinking too much or partying too much, why are you inviting them to a pregame party where people are going to essentially, pregame means you're drinking before you go out. So why are you inviting him to this to then do the intervention? How does that? Anyways, Tom Sandoval didn't end up coming. So then she said Victoria found out that Billie had kind of led the charge on trying to have this group conversation. And Billie said that she left Victoria out because she feels Victoria was the one that got Tom Sandoval drinking again. So she obviously didn't want her around it. But Victoria found out somehow. And from that point on, she said that every time she would be around, Victoria would like look at her and treat her as if she offed one of her family members or her dog. And so I guess now we're at a point where it's clear that Billie has taken a step back from being friends with Tom because of the fact that he's in this, as she calls it, this toxic relationship. But it's like, he's a toxic person. And I don't know too much about Victoria. I don't even know if any of the things Billie's saying is true or exaggerated or whatnot. I do find it interesting that she did spill that much. And also Joe was on this and she was trying to also make this situation with Billie and Tom Sandoval kind of like parallel to her and Schwartz's situation. But then Billie, I don't even know why Billie had her on actually, because the whole time I felt like Billie was like kind of like, she was cutting Billie off a lot. She talks a lot. And I know she has like ADHD and stuff like that. So I'm not coming for her for that. But it was just too many people in the room for just two people having a conversation. There was one woman, she was just there. She was not a part of the conversation. She doesn't know any of the people that Billie and Joe are talking about. They don't watch the show. However, she was just there. So it was like one of those podcasts, if you can picture, where there's like 4 or 5 people just sitting around, but only 2 people are actually engaging on the episode, if you've ever seen one of those. But it was very interesting. I didn't watch the entire thing. I had seen a clip of it on my TikTok, and so I went and looked for it because I was like, first of all, I'm like, I didn't even know she had a podcast. Number 2, I was nosy. I wanted to know what happened. So apparently it's Victoria's the problem, which is interesting because there was like, we haven't really heard much. She said the reason why she even spoke out about this is because I guess Victoria left a comment under one of the Bravo blog pages on Instagram that basically was like, said something like snarky or like something that rubbed Billie the wrong way. It wasn't actually super mean. It was just one of those ones that was kind of laughing off whatever was being said that Billie said. And that was what made Billie want to, I guess, divulge on everything that happened. So I don't know what you guys think about that. I take everything with Billie Lee with a grain of salt, honestly. I feel like it's just all based in opportunity. Just so many people around this show that I feel like are scrapping for whatever they can get. Podcast appearance. We're still talking about Scandoval still. We're still talking about Ariana's things being in the house. We're still talking. It's just like the show's over. Let's move on. Can we focus on what's to come in terms of other shows? Because I know we have some other stuff going on right now. We have New Jersey. That is a whole lot to deal with. Then we have Real Housewives of Orange County that'll premiere at some point this summer. We should be getting a trailer any day now. It's crazy. I don't want to keep hearing about. I think I'm done with this, and I feel like now we're just going to try to pull whatever we can out of this situation to try to keep it going. And it just, I also don't trust that Billy's not doing this because she wants more exposure. She obviously knew that her saying all those things was going to get media attention. Hello, I'm talking about it on my live today. And I'll probably be talking about it with Caitlin later on her live at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on her YouTube channel. But I mean, people were sending me the clips last night, so I just figured, let me just go watch it and, get the full meat and potatoes of what she was speaking about in terms of Sandoval. But it sounds like from her point of view, Tom Sandoval's not in the best place at all. And it sounds like she's kind of blaming Victoria for that a little bit, because she says that he doesn't do anything. He doesn't leave his house. He won't meet up with people. He won't take meetings. And her point was like, look, you haven't had any brand deals or any opportunities the last year. So if a brand is willing to work with you, you take the meeting, which I do agree with. Right. Whiny Chicks brings up a good point on Instagram. This is all happening, by the way, while Tom Sandoval is filming The Traitors over in Scotland. So I'm sure he'll find out about it at some point, but he's not even around. So I don't know if that was maybe why she took this time to release this. I don't know. It's crazy to me. But I would be interested to hear what his response to this is. And also, I haven't really seen anything yet from Victoria. I don't really know how much she gets involved. Outside of that one comment, I haven't really seen her commenting or any movement, really. So I don't really know. They may just ignore it. We'll see, It's crazy that we're still even talking about this, honestly. I feel like the fact that we are still trying to pull some sort of content out of this Sandoval bit is crazy to me. I just can't even tell you. Yeah, it was a lot, Kelly. If you guys did watch it, I don't know if you guys felt this way. It was just like, it was getting to be a little too much all over the place. Like I was saying earlier, it's like too many people in the room. It could have just been Billy, her co-host, and Joe. The fourth woman really had no stake in it. She was just there for the Jello shots and probably the tea, except she didn't know who any of the people were. So it's like probably not as exciting. Did she say that she's going to be on a podcast, Whiny Chicks, or does she need to come on the Giorgio Says podcast? Victoria? Hello? Someone tag Victoria in my live and ask her if she wants to come on and give us the scoop over here. I'd love to know your point of view, dear. I know, I'm just joking, Whiny Chicks. That doesn't mean I won't reach out to her, though. So thanks for that. I will definitely reach out. If she's willing to give her side of it. Clearly, Billy gave her side, so why not? What else is going on? We had the Valley season finale aired. Did you guys watch it? What were your thoughts? I think Brittany's done. I think she's done. I think Jax has played way too many of his games, and I think the time has passed, because I even just saw her on E! News with Michelle and Janet, and she's still saying they're separated and all that stuff. I honestly, I really hope for her sake that she doesn't put herself back in that situation. But I did think it was a great finale. Oh, no, I did see that, Whiny Chicks. That's where I started to kind of taper off, because I started to feel like between that and she was also doing this bit, like I said before, where she was trying to say that her and Schwartz's situation was like what Billy and Tom Sandoval's situation was. And even Billy was like, well, actually, no, it's not, because I wasn't sleeping with Sandoval. You were sleeping with Schwartz. And I don't think she meant that to be shady. I think she was trying to re-clarify, because I think she really... I don't know. If they did, they did. And maybe they don't want it out there, or they haven't. I mean, listen. He did ask her to come over. He knows her favorite food, and they're having movie night. So let me just ask you guys, if your boyfriend had his girlfriend, not girlfriend, but girl, a friend who's a girl, over at his house, ordered her favorite food, and was having a movie night, and you weren't there, I don't know. How would you guys feel? Would that bother you? Hi, Catherine. Catherine says the Jell-O shots, Joe as usual, a total mess. Isn't her 15 minutes up? The person that Brittany was sleeping with, her son, Jax, is so shady. 1,000%, Catherine. 1,000%. That I don't remember who put that photo together where they put his tweet that said that and then put it on top of a picture of Cruz sleeping next to Brittany on the bed, because that's essentially exactly who she's been sleeping with, is her son that you uprooted out of his family home because you're being a narcissistic pest. Christina on Instagram, thank you for your comment. Christina wrote, I think the issue is that anyone who is willing to be with somebody like Tom anyone who is willing to be with somebody like Tom immediately after what was, I think you're trying to say anybody that would be with him after what happened with Scandoval is clearly an opportunist, I think. You can clarify for me, Christina. I think your message cut off. But yeah, no, it's crazy to think that we have Joe, who's like, I mean, she's been on lives and stuff. And listen, she doesn't really bother me. I honestly, like, yeah, she has her moments, right? It's a little bit unnecessary, but it's not enough to bother me. What I don't like is how she tries to make things, it just feels like she jumbles the truth and twisted things to make it fit her, whatever she was feeling, whatever. And I'm not saying that Schwartz didn't play with her. He did. I'm trying to understand, because she's saying in this interview that she still has reached out to Schwartz because she would like to solutionize this with him. And I'm like, what is there to solutionize? Why do you want to be friends with someone that treated you like that and discarded you so fast? I'm just saying, like, why would you do that to yourself? You could do so much better. Yeah, I agree, Christina. It wasn't healthy. Like, I don't know why. I mean, I'm not saying that this Victoria chick is not using Sandoval for some sort of opportunity, because hear me out. She's only known for dating an A-lister. She's not known for anything else. So she's riding the publicity wave, in my opinion. So yeah, Sandoval's getting publicity. It may not be great publicity, but it's publicity. And so it's keeping her name out there too. So let's be clear. She knew what she was getting herself into. And I think I've heard people say she never watched the show. Yeah, right. Everyone who didn't, people on CNN were talking about this that never watched the show. So, like, if you're going to sit here and tell me that you never knew what was going on, you didn't know who Sandoval was and what he did and, like, all that stuff, that's a bunch of crock. Welcome on in, guys. If you're just joining us, we're just talking about Bravo Hot Topics. We were just discussing, I was letting everyone know Billie Lee has a podcast that I did not know about, but the episode she had out yesterday was all about basically her cutting off Tom Sandoval, at least for the moment, because she felt like it was getting to be such a toxic situation because of Tom Sandoval's girlfriend. We do need to jump over to New Jersey, though, because I did talk about this. I don't remember if I talked about it on my podcast earlier this week or on my Patreon. But Louis is in the news. Louis Ruelas is in the news because the Sun has reported that Louis has taken $1 million loan out on the home that he and Teresa live in, that Louis bought with cash. It's I think they bought it for $3.2 million. Allegedly, he paid for it all in cash. It's just in his LLC's name, so Teresa's not on the deed. And people are questioning, why did he need to pull $1 million out of his house? And they claimed it was to keep up with the lifestyle. Now, let's make things really crystal clear over here at the Giorgio Says channel. What I'm about to say is not because I am trying to defend this man. I am simply talking in I just want to put things in a little bit of perspective for you guys. So it sounds to me, and a lot of people that have assets make their assets work for them. Anybody who's wealthy, anybody who you've ever come across, and I've come across a few people, and some of the advice that I've always heard consistently across the board when it's someone who's very well-knowledged in the money space, how to manage it, how to keep it, how to grow it, how to make it work for you. They always say you should always utilize the assets that you have. Now, as I mentioned, from what we understand, he paid for this house all in cash, meaning he does not have a traditional mortgage. So I think they purchased the home a little bit over a year ago, maybe, or just a year ago. So I'm sure at this point it does have some equity, okay? But even if it didn't, the amount of money that it's worth is all free and clear for him to take because of the fact that he doesn't have a mortgage. Now, I don't know what he needed the money for exactly. It could be for anything, really. What my question is, why is the company that basically owns this $1 million loan, why is it inactive? I did talk about this earlier because that was my question then too. I'm not even questioning the $1 million. I don't care what you're doing with your equity. It's not my business. And if you have it and you like it, I love it. Go spend it. Do whatever you want. Godspeed. I'm questioning it. This is where things get sticky. It's always something off. You know what I mean? Like if it was just a clear-cut situation where it's like he took an equity loan for $1 million out of his paid for in cash home that's worth over $3.5 million at this point. So that if that's all the story was, and it was just like one of those, then I wouldn't even pay it any mind because obviously, like, yes, people will try to exaggerate certain elements. I'm more concerned at the company that's based in Florida that's owned this thing that hasn't even done an annual report on their own company since 2018. That doesn't sound like, would you guys trust a bank to give you a loan off the equity of your home that has had an inactive annual report for the last 5 or 6 years? I don't know. I don't think so. Unless it's for an alternative reason, which I can't seem to think why you would do it that way unless it was, I don't know. It's kind of mind-boggling. Now, I haven't checked the company today to see did they reactivate themselves since news broke. I doubt it, but I don't know. CM Rosa, yes, CM Rosa said, can't be easy for a convicted felon to get a mortgage, just saying. Well, I think also it had more to do with financially maybe protecting Teresa so that people maybe it would be less things to come after her. Like if she has assets with people, it kind of, maybe it's more of a protection. A lot of people do have an issue with it because they say like, well, if something goes wrong, Teresa, then guess who's going to have to leave that house? Now, I don't know if that would be the case necessarily, because I think Teresa is a very strong woman, and if she was pushed like that, I think she would fight back, and it wouldn't be that simple, as she should. I don't think anyone should be kicked out of their own home, especially, whatever the case is. They are married, so it is what it is. But it is an interesting story from that angle, not from the $1 million angle, because when you're looking at a $3.5 million house that has no mortgage, yeah, I mean, go for it. Because what you're doing is you're essentially just you're kind of paying yourself back if you think about it. Hey, Matthew. Thanks for joining. If you guys are just joining, we were just talking about the Louis Ruelas story that came out in The Sun, but there was already an article about it earlier, and I discussed it around, but The Sun kind of framed it in a weird way. They kind of said it was to keep up a lifestyle or whatever, but as I just mentioned, I don't think that's what it was. I think it was for other reasons, but I think the company in which, like I said, owns the mortgage is what I think is the shady part of this story. But yeah, we'll see, I guess, and I did see, I think it was, let me make sure I get this right. I want to get the page right. There was a page that Louis responded under because they covered the story, and he wrote, LOL, this is false, which obviously, like, what else are you going to say? Oh, shoot, it's true. Yes, I have been watching Jersey Housewives, but it's going to be over in a minute, guys. You do know that, right? We have like, what, 6-7 episodes left for the finale? So don't worry. It's going to be over before it starts. And we're not getting a reunion either. Although I do think they're going to do something. And like I said prior, whatever it is that they're going to do will be interesting because, I don't really know how they're going to be able to close it all together. Some people were saying they might do something like an after show format. And I could see that possibly being thrown on the table to do. But again, it's like, but you already have the after show where you're kind of doing that for every episode. So what are you going to do? Just do that for the whole season again? It's just kind of like, I don't know. Maybe it would work. I don't know. And then there's a lot of people freaking out because they're like, I saw a post today from a girl and she was like freaking out because she said that her friend called her and she was like, do you know what happened the last time one of these franchises didn't have a reunion? They got a reboot. And so now this woman's freaking out because she doesn't want it to reboot. But some of it's gonna get rebooted. We have to be honest about this. I don't think that we're gonna keep going this direction. And I honestly don't think you guys want to keep watching this type of show, do you? I don't. It's not even because Teresa and Melissa aren't speaking. That's not even the issue. It just feels a little flat with some of them. Mainly for me, I'm very kind of thrown off by Jackie, I think, the most in all of this, because she just seems to have done such a 180, and I don't get it. I get it. I know what she's doing. She wants to be back full time. And she probably felt like, you know what? I better go kiss the ring and just do my due diligence so I can try to get my full-time spot back. Well, with all of that, she's still a friend of. So what really is going on exactly? It's just strange. I also will say that, I don't dislike Danielle, but I do dislike a lot of some of the things that she says and does, I find to be a little bit inauthentic, I'll be honest. Like, for instance, I think there's way more to her family story and why she's not speaking to people than she's led us to believe. And listen, I've said this before, there's something a little unfair, in my opinion, when you have bad blood with maybe one family member, the whole family now, but for you to go on this big platform and then tell your side of the story, and there's no way for them to have that opportunity to kind of just, so that people can really see what it really is, it's kind of not fair, in my opinion. They're not on the show. They can't speak for themselves, yet everyone's going to have an opinion now about the mom, the dad, the brother, and all that. I even said on my recap, and I'm going to preface this by saying I'm not making anyone just be connected to their parents no matter what. I am totally about protecting yourself. And not every parent is a great parent, let's be honest. But there was nothing that Danielle said about her dad specifically and her mom. Last season, she was good with her dad. and her mom. We got scenes with them. This season, now she's not talking to the dad, the brother, and the mom. And it's just kind of like, yeah, when Melissa brought up, like, I would give anything to talk to my dad again. Again, we're basing it on the situation that's in front of us. We're not saying in general. But yeah, it is generally hard to hear someone like Danielle say that so easily. And I get it. We've all been on the other side where we haven't lost a parent yet. But I lost my dad 4 years ago, and there's nothing I would have wanted more than to have just 10 more minutes to just tell him everything I wanted to say. And so it is hard to hear people say things so cut and dry like that, especially with parents that, for all we know, the only issue is that they're being neutral to the situation because they probably don't want to choose sides with their kids. I'm speculating. I don't really know. I'm just saying. So if it is just that, to me, that's petty. So I would tend to think maybe there is more layered in there that, no, she doesn't have to tell us. Because again, we shouldn't really know all this if they're not going to be on the show as well. Are they going to be a part of the storyline? I mean, I don't know. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat over here and on Instagram. CM Rosa said, and Danielle's husband has a relationship with her dad. That's odd. See, that is odd to me because obviously whatever has happened is just, I feel like Danielle is also someone who's super duper duper stubborn. Like really stubborn. Like if you keep telling her she should go talk to this person, she'll not talk to the person just because she doesn't want to do it because you told her to. She's just very stubborn in her process. Hi, Marilena. We did kind of cover the Valley a little bit earlier, but I'm sure we can talk a little bit more about it. Essentially, it was just craziness and eye-opening for everyone on the latter part of the finale. But I thought it was a great finale nonetheless. And I hope Brittany does not stay with Jax. Let me just say this as well about the Valley. I think the Valley not having a reunion, as annoying as it is, I do think that it will make season 2 that much better. I do. Here's why. I think the time spent in between of them not being able to reconcile some of this stuff is going to play out in season 2 much quicker because people are going to be ramped up by that point when cameras pick back up. So things that they couldn't say at a reunion to kind of just move on from, they're going to say it in episode 1, 2, because I'm telling you, they've done a really good job with this. And I've said this multiple times. I had to eat crow because I don't know if you guys remember my very first post about the Valley. It was the promo that they put out, and I was laughing at it. Like, this is a joke. And it wasn't. It was actually fantastic. And so I'm happy to eat crow when I'm wrong. But yeah, Jersey's going to go through a bit of a change. They're going to go through a change because they can't operate like this. It's not working. And it's clear you have some people on the cast that are working with people behind the scenes. And I'm not going to get into all that stuff again because it's all over the place. But, you know, have y'all seen Jennifer Aiden? She didn't do any press for the show. She's been in the mix for a lot of this stuff. And I'm not saying this is all her fault by any means, because there's a lot of stuff in the background that's playing, you know, that's causing this. However, I do think that sometimes and I've said this before on other shows, sometimes you just get to a point on the show where you're bigger than the show, even if it's just you that thinks that. And it comes through to the audience. And I think that is where a lot of the people get turned off so fast. Like sometimes you're like, wow, people used to really love this one Bravo Lab. And then all of a sudden they just hate them all of a sudden. And it's just, they get to a point, in my opinion, where they get to a point where they have a lot of fame. They have enough success. They have money opportunities. So yeah, a lot more is going to be, you can't talk about this. I'm not showing that. No, I'm not going to film with this person. Yes, I will only do this if X happens. So it's not that simple when you get to that tier, in my opinion. So, and I'm seeing people bringing up the Caroline Manzo and Dina Manzo of it all. I know that I talked about this. I think I talked about it yesterday or the day before on my live, but there's still a lot of people still speculating around Ultimate Girls Trip and saying that maybe perhaps this whole situation of Tommy Manzo's indictment, because he was indicted, he's going to face up to 46 years in prison on October 15th. That's a long time. But I think the interesting part in all of it is that everything that is being thrown at us literally is just around what Caroline's issue was with Ultimate Girls Trip. So it was almost like a distraction. And a lot of you guys in the comments, I think it was 2 days ago, a lot of you guys were saying that you guys really had always felt this way about Caroline, and this proved y'all's point, that she was not a trustworthy person, and this whole thick as thieves front that she was putting on isn't so. Because if you're thick as thieves, why are you writing a letter for your brother-in-law versus your sister? Your sister. Imagine. But she wasn't the only one. And that's the other thing. I think people are also really thrown off that Dolores also wrote a letter for Tommy Manzo. It obviously didn't work, but it paints a different picture, I guess, when you look at it that way. You're like, wow, oh, okay. Oh, now some of this starts to make more sense. Like, that's how I felt. I was like, oh. There's just always something dark going on in the background over there, and it's crazy to me. But it's not that it's too toxic, because let's be clear, a lot of these shows, reality TV has always been toxic. I think now people are more alert and more they're able to see what things are more clearly, and because social media and TikTok is being more, people are speaking out more, as they should. People can call these things out quicker, in my opinion. I think in the past, we were kind of just, we didn't have all this technology. We didn't have instantaneous commentary on the reality TV back then, but it was just as toxic. It was just as bad. So some of this stuff isn't that it's so dark and so toxic, more than it's like the perfect storm. You have a bunch of people on it that are not willing to play ball, and then you have people doing stuff behind the cameras to people and making people feel unsafe or harming people. I mean, guys, this Perna guy spent 2.5 years in prison because he needed that discount at the Brownstone for his wedding reception. That ballet that he went and took a slapjack, brought someone with him, and attacked Dina's now husband, which is not funny. It's probably the most traumatic thing that could happen to you. And then you find out your sister's writing a letter to help save her brother-in-law who instituted this whole thing. Yeah, you can kick rocks. Do you guys even want to watch Ultimate Girls Trip at this point? Do you guys even still want to see it? If I don't think they're going to show it to us ever, but like if they did, would you guys even want to see it? Is it too late? I'd still watch it. I would still watch it for sure. Especially because Camille was on there, and I heard that it was actually really good when they were filming. And Camille came out a couple days ago and said that it would be such a shame if no one gets to see this. And then some of you were like, why can't they just cut Caroline out of it? Although that would be great. I don't know how much of an impact that would make on the overall, situation. Because again, they only filmed this for like 7 or 8 days. It's not a long time. So whatever they have, they want to conserve it. So it probably wouldn't work well if they cut her out. And then some of you guys said, well, why can't they just cut out that one particular night or whatever? Because everything that happened after that would have to play out, and then there would be more questions. And so it would just be, I don't know. I also think that Bravo just doesn't want to deal with the liability. They're already dealing with legal issue, Leah McSweeney of it all, and people suing the network, and then Caroline Manzo's allegations against Brandy and all that stuff. So it's still going on. So there's no way that it's gonna. I just don't see it happening. But you never know. Things can change. They always can change. All right, guys. Let's see. No, they do not get paid. They do not get paid if it does not air. Whiny Chick says, can we touch quickly on Summer House with reunion tonight and Captain Lee coming out with some interesting comment about Carl and them not being friends anymore? Yeah, I saw some stuff about that. I did, however, did you guys see the clip when Sierra walks out onto the reunion stage and what's his name is like looking at her like he just made the biggest mistake ever? It was funny. I watched it on a loop because it was like the camera like caught him literally just watching her walk by, and he was just like, it was funny. All right, guys. Watching, Catherine on YouTube, thank you for your comments, says watching Jersey's like watching Married to the Mob. It's getting there. I would say so. It does kind of feel, I don't know. I mean, listen, Mob Wives was like, when you talk about dark and toxic, that show was crazy. But you know what those women did? They always managed to come back together for the sake of the show. So they could beat each other to a pulp on episode 7, but on episode 8, they're going to be at dinner together to celebrate whoever's opening up a tattoo shop or I don't know. At least they showed up. We're getting to the point now where people are like, yeah, I don't really feel like talking to them, so I'm not going to come to the reunion this time. It's like, oh, okay, that's fine. It is Thursday. Do you guys have any major plans for the weekend? Anything popping off? I'm going to be going to my partner's, I don't know. Will you get mad if I say how many years? It's his 20-year college reunion, not anniversary. 20-year college reunion. And we're going to Rhode Island for it. So that should be fun. I've actually never been to Rhode Island, believe it or not. But that's what I'll be doing this weekend. And what else is going on? I do have the Valley recap that I've been doing with, I recapped the Valley with Caitlin Marshall from Besties by Bravo. It's on my Patreon. Thank you, Kelly. And hello. Oh, it's Stella. Hey, Stella, babe. Oh, Stella, I didn't know you lived in Canada. Shelly says, yes, I have my nephews this weekend. I'm going to take them on a train ride. That's fun. How many nephews? You're going to have your hands full, it sounds like. That's always fun. I remember when I was a kid, I used to love getting on the train because it felt like so futuristic to me for some reason. Yes, I love Toronto. Next time I'm in Toronto, Stella, we need to have a coffee so we can dish. Hi, Paige. That's another place I need to visit, Nashville. Can't believe all these cool little places I haven't been to. Two small boys. I sure am. Well, you know what? They might entertain themselves. So, sometimes when you have two, they can kind of cancel out each other. I think I've heard when you have 3, that's when it gets out of control. I wouldn't know. I don't have kids, but I have watched 3 little ones, and I will say going from 2 of them to 3 makes a huge difference. So, but have fun. I know they will have fun. They'll definitely enjoy that. But yeah, it should be a good time. The weather is not too crazy. It is humid here. It's kind of been off and on raining, but nothing that I can't manage. But you know what else is crazy? I wanted to bring this up, and I feel like I'm blanking on it, so it's probably not important, and I don't need to bring it up on here. This always happens at the end of my lives. My brain gets fried and I forget what I was going to say. Anyways, yes. If you guys want to check out the Valley recaps, they're available on my Patreon. And if you haven't checked out my Patreon, it's basically a house for all of my content to live. So if you're a free Patreon member, you can watch all of the content that I post everywhere else, all in one space. And I have exclusive content. So I have bonus episodes of the podcast, obviously ad-free. And then I also do the rewatch series where I'm rewatching old Bravo shows and seasons of Housewives. And then I also do a Giorgio Says Investigates, where I do a deep dive into like a hot topic that's happened in Bravo, whether it's now, in the past, whatnot. So a lot of fun stuff over there. Also, thank you guys so much for the feedback on the songs that have been released. My Housewives Tales album, which is basically my version of merch for you guys. It's a, love letter to the Housewives and my, love for this type of content. It will be out July 11th. So there's 20 tracks I wrote and produced, and no, they are not my vocals, but everything else is by me. And yeah, it's just meant to be fun, upbeat. You can go check out the singles anywhere you stream your music. Just type in Giorgio Says. Have a good time. But I think I'll leave it here for this Thirsty Thursday, excuse me. I love you guys. I really appreciate you guys showing up. I know you guys are super busy and it's noon, and it's not noon everywhere. And I do appreciate your time for sure. But with that being said, I hope you guys have a fun, safe weekend. And I will talk to you on Tuesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'll talk to you then. Bye, guys.